Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're doing well. My name is Ismael Vasquez. I'm the technical sales manager for Carmelo. We're located here in Puerto Rico. We also have a plant in Mississippi as well. For today, we're going to be talking about our self-leveling and underlayment. We do offer several mortars and adhesives as well, additional to our self-leveling. So today we'll be speaking about our fast set level mortar, which is our topping for to level floors. And as well, we're going to be talking about our underlayments. So our agenda for today is first we're going to talk about things you have to look for out there before applying these materials. First of all, you have to look at the concrete moisture testing, making sure that there's not a lot of humidity coming up from the floor. You also we'll be showing you how to do some prep work with, let's say, mechanical form as well to before you apply these materials, and also what equipments are needed, which self-leveling or underlayment is needed for your project. And also, I'm going to give you a couple of study cases of several projects we have done as well, so that you can have that experience with us as well. Carmelo, just to get an idea who's Carmelo, Carmelo's been in the business since 1955, and we've been doing this from blocks, let's say retaining wall, keystone units as well, and up to 2015 and 2024 now, we've been working with manufacturing specialized repair concrete mixes. So let's talk about first of all how do you look at these products, and before you place them, you need to know there's humidity on that concrete surface. So moisture moves from the lower temperatures all the way to the higher temperatures, so the humidity is gonna go up, right? And also that with that humidity, you're gonna be transporting salts, where you might have that reaction, or alkali silica reaction on that surface, underneath probably of a installed epoxy or a self-leveling, or let's say adhesive tiles. So we've got to make sure that we test for that. So how do you test for those for that humidity that's being transported from bottom up, right? And you use a calcium chloride test. You can do that. And the way they do that is they measure some weight on that calcium chloride, and they leave that test for from almost 36 to 72 hours, and that will tell you, let's say, if there's let's say 4 pounds per 1,000 square foot for let's say 24 hours. And that'll give you a number, right? For self-leveling, you need to be around 5. Epoxies probably be around 4. So that number is very important. Another way to measure how humidity is passing or it's being transported through the concrete, it's also doing the in situ test. Here we drill a hole and then we install a probe. And then you also have a measurement where anything over 75, for let's say for epoxy, then you need to put a vapor barrier. For let's say underlayments, it'll be around 85. So if you have 85 or above, then you need to put a liquid vapor barrier. So another thing you have to look for is those contaminants on the surface, right? You might be working on an old floor, or it could be also a new floor. So there'll be some treatments, sealers as well, penetrating sealers, films, curing compounds, and grease, maybe from a mechanical shop or something like that, hydraulic fluids, or glue from an existing flooring system. So you need to clean that out and take it out. Probably you have to use mechanical methods as well to take those contaminants out of the floor. Also, let's say from new constructions, they usually put a lot of water on the surface to do curing or probably do finishes as well. And that will create some more bleed water, right? And that will turn into dust. So you need to take out that weak, let's say, water cement ratio on the surface before you install, let's say, an underlayment or let's say an epoxy floor. So that's very important to remove that contaminants, at least let's say an eighth of an inch or whatever, wherever that contaminant is, you have to take it out and you have to get nice solid concrete down there first. So to prepare the surface, the International Concrete Repair Institute has these guides. We use them all the time. This is for selecting, specifying concrete surface preparation for sealers, coatings, and let's say underlayments or polymer overlays. So they'll tell you which let's say which tool, which machine is needed to get a concrete surface preparation. Usually on an underlayment, you'll be on let's say 4, 5, 6 of a concrete surface prep. And also to get there, you need to do, here you can see you can use, let's say, a shot blaster machine or a scarifier. And that's what you need to open up those pores. And again, if you're using an underlayment or self-leveling, you'll be in the range of a quarter inch and above, because on a quarter inch, that's self-leveling underlayment will flow real nice, right? And you will get a nice flat surface. So we're looking at the CSP about 5, 6, 7, something in that sort of a range. And why do we need that surface to be open, right? So now you're going to have an open pore where let's say you're passing your scarifier, or let's say you're passing your shot blaster machine. So you're opening those pores, and that way let's say whatever primer you use before, let's say an underlayment, that will seep in and open and go into the surface, right? Also, it all depends. If you're doing, let's say, a room, let's say a 12 by 12 in your house or a bathroom, you don't really need to go to those CSP of 3, 4, 5, with a 3 or 2 is sufficient. But if you're in a warehouse where you have forklifts moving, and so you have light dynamic loads, impacts as well, then you need to open those pores. And also the humidity that's coming up, so that surface needs to have that bite, so that whatever you put on top, it will withstand those let's say humidity or impacts as well. So one of the ways you can open those pores is in getting a CSP of, let's say, of 1 to 3 CSP concrete surface prep of, let's say, 1 through 3. You can use a hand grinder connected to a vacuum cleaner, because you really don't want a lot of dust going into your working area. Also, you can use one of these bigger grinders. Let me start the video here. These bigger grinders will cover more. You can also change the diamond disc as well and get a better concrete surface prep with these grinders. And again, you can connect this to a vacuum team. Then, if you're looking for, let's say, a higher concrete surface prep, you want to use a shot blast machine. This is our favorite machine to use, let's say, for warehouses or bigger floors, and you'll get a CSP from 2 to 8. So, and this is how I got you a video here how that works. Again, you can see the difference between an open pore concrete surface and versus you can see the white coat surface of the with the paste that concrete. So again, if there's any contaminant, you have to go all the way down to where that contaminant is, take it out. So this is going to provide you a nice profile and clean area already, especially if you're working in pharmaceutical or I would say you're in the kitchen or things like that. So let's talk about joints. Joints are very, very important to respect. That's what the way we say it. Usually we design, let's say, a 2 by 1 80 by 40, let's say. So you have to look for, let's say, contraction joints, right? And how they work. You also have isolation joints, where maybe there's a machine there in that warehouse, or there's a column. So you have to respect those joints, making sure that you don't go over all those joints. If not, you're going to have a break or a crack over that, right? But also you can design how that concrete cracks, right? And uh, and that's why they put these control joints, and you usually fill them up with let's say an epoxy semi-rigid epoxy filler, or it could be also a polyurethane, depending on what's the design of that slab, right? So it's just to make sure that you know that if you go over those joints, that you can have a break or a crack going up in that surface. So the best way is to just mark the joints wherever it is, and just reopen those joints and fill them out with, let's say, a semi-rigid epoxy.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, Esther.
Uh, what about if your slab, your concrete slab already has joints?
So if they have joints, what you do, you mark them, and you pour your let's say, either your self-leveling, and then you open up wherever those joints are. I mean, if they're moving cracks, right, then you just put whatever, let's say, semi-rigid epoxy, or let's say a polyurethane underneath that. Okay. So so how do we mix these self-leveling and underlayments, right? We usually use let's say a power drill, and we want them to be over 500 RPMs, right? 500, 650 RPM, and then you mix that material for at least 3 minutes, right? So so you can either do it by hand in a bucket. You can, if you're doing, let's say, a bathroom or a small room, or so you can use a bucket, and use a power drill and do it like you see here on the left side, or you can use a bigger, let's say, hypo, let's say, a bucket. These are big, and they have their wheels. They already have their the power drill integrated there, and you can mix up to, let's say, 3 to 5 bags at a time, and that'll be easy to move around. And then you're going to be saving time and money on whenever you're doing these jobs. Also, another way to apply these underlayments and toppings, you can use our one of our pumps, and these pumps, let's say the monomix or the duo mix, you put the bag on the hopper, and then it'll mix with the water inside and through the sleeve, and then it'll go through a hose, and then you'll be pouring that material. The nice thing about this is that once you start, you just don't need to turn off that machine, and you can, let's say, move real quickly. On the right side here, we are seeing another type of let's say a mixer. That's a D30. Here you can also use it for the self-leveling and underlayments. And here, but this product just mixes it, right? So you need a pump like the M-Tech P50 on the bottom, and that pump will receive the mixed material, and also take it to wherever, let's say 30 feet or 60 feet, wherever you want to take the material. And so it's pretty easier to use one of these machines. And again, you can mix up to 60 bags in an hour with these machines. So this will make your labor less costly, let's say, and finish your job in no time. So what are our self-leveling and underlayments and topping, right? So let me just go a little bit on brief here of what it is for each other. What did they do, right? So we have the FS level mortar. That's a topping. That's something that's going to be like a finished floor, and then we have our underlayment, right? And that's going to be used underneath, let's say, piles, let's say an epoxy underneath, let's say some other flooring, or wherever you want to top it with something else, right? So we're doing floors, terrace, balconies, again, the FS level mortar, you can use it inside and out. That's where you can use it in balconies or in roofs. And the underlayment, you can do it just inside the structure. So you can do commercial buildings, industrial buildings, residential buildings with these materials. So a little bit more about the tools. You use a power drill from with an RPM of 500 to 600. That's what you need. You can use buckets. You have a mixer that could be rounded or square, whichever you prefer. But for underlayments, it's better to have one of these rounded ones. And also, you're going to be using spike rollers. Spike rollers are used to take out all the bubbles or the air inside the mixes, right? So, see the problem when you're hand mixing is that you got to make sure that the drill and the paddle are underneath the material so there's no water or air being entrained into that mix, right? So you have lesser bubbles going in there. Then you can be using, let's say, spike shoes. So once you start pouring the material, you can use these spike shoes and go into the material and probably move it around or using your leveler, which has a gauge. So if you want your material to be, let's say, a quarter inch, you just adjust that gauge to a quarter inch. And then you'll be feeding on the floor the material with that let's say width there, a quarter inch. Then also we have some other installers, they just use smoothers or just to fix the area, they just be pouring and pouring material, and then they just fix in between pours. So in between pours, you want the material to be wet on wet. And that's very important. So you have any, let's say, cold joints on there. So with the Carmelo FS level mortar, this is a fast set mortar. You can have like 3,000 psi in about 4 hours. So you can probably work on it in 4 hours. See, I got somebody. Again, you're going to use this material to correct surfaces that are uneven, or let's say you have a bad surface with a lot of open pores, and you want a nice surface on there, flat surface. Then you use the FS level mortar. And again, this is a topping. This can be your finished floor. It's gonna end up in a gray color, but you can also do let's say flakes or decorative as well with these toppings. So again, you with the FS level mortar, you're going to have high strength at an early age, which is good. I mean, you can top it with, let's say, with adhesives in about 24 hours. If you're using, let's say, epoxies or other coatings that are not breathable, then you'll probably be sealing in after 3 days, right? So again, you'll be saving. I mean, these are the materials that are going to save you money because it's going to be something that you can lay down quick and it's going to beautify the surface. And again, it's going to be a high durable product, and you can even use it in refrigerators or coolers as well. So here are the instructions of our product. Usually we have these written in our bags, right? So first of all, you start off. Let's say this is the FS level mortar. You start off with a nice clean surface. Probably you want to put a Legtex primer in there so that it'll hold down moisture, or if not, a vapor barrier. Let's say you can also add sand to it, and to have a better bite on there if you have moisture. Then you add some part of the water. Usually, this material can take up to a gallon of water, but you can, let's say, put 3/4 of the gallon in first, and then you pour in the cementitious product little by little until you just adjust. Probably it won't take the whole gallon, but you'll see how it'll flow. Then you'll mix it. You have a mixing about 3 minutes. You'll mix it 3 minutes. Then you take it and you pour it on the surface. From, let's say, you have a 10-foot area where you're gonna put it from one side and ribbon with that material, and then you just come back and just feed it. So actually you need people mixing, people transporting material, and people placing and using the leveler, and also using the smoother. And then somebody coming back and using the porcupine roller as well. So here here's an example of how fluid this material is. Yeah, let me see. It looks like pancake batter, right? So it's going to fill up from the bottom of that repair area to the top. So it's going to level it, right? So it's going to look something like that. If you're in our, I mean, we can use this product on a roof as well to correct ponding issues as well. And I'm going to show you some of the pictures we have on that. But again, it's going to go from the lower side and level up to the rest of the where you have the concrete. Okay. Here we have another video of a job. See, so you can have these distressed floors, and with the let's say either the underlayment or the FS level mortar, you can fill up all these holes, and the FS level mortar, you can go up to 2 or 3 inches of material, right? But usually we apply these material at a 1/4 inch. Right, you see here how flat the floor ended up with. So you fix the floor, right? And again, it's going to be hardened in about the FS level mortar is going to harden in about, let's say, from about 3 hours, and you can just walk on it. I mean, you can't use carts or anything over that floor in after, let's say, 24 hours, but in 3 or 4 hours you can walk on it. Here we're showing how the pump works. This is the dual mix or the mono mix, and then again you're mixing the material on the hopper, and then transporting it with the 32-foot hose, and then you just really don't have to take buckets from one side to the other and just fill out the area. Okay, so. We also do some repairs where on concrete roofs as well, where you can flatten those ponding areas, right? And again, you use let's say the latex primer before putting the underlayment, and then you can also level the whole roof with this material. See. So now let's talk about our self-leveling underlayment. And again, underlayment that means that it's gonna go under, let's say, either an epoxy floor, or let's say a vinyl floor, or a tile floor. So again, it's easy to use. It's going to give you a nice smooth surface, and has a very high flowability. This product, it's very unique. It has in 28 days, it has 7,000 psi, so it's a very strong product. But again, you can do bathrooms, areas, or a room, right, or bigger areas on a restaurant, or things like that. Okay, so you can put it back in service in about 24 hours. And again, it has basic instruction of how to use it. But again, you have to start off with a nice clean floor, and you can, let's say, put a primer on it, or a vapor barrier. Again, that's very important. Then you put three quarters of the water again into the bucket, and then slowly you add the cementitious product over that in the bucket as well. And then you mix it for 3 minutes, and then you take it to the area, and again you apply a ribbon of it. And then you use your gauge rake to level up to 1/4 inch, and also use a smoother as well, or your porcupine roller as well. So here are some examples of jobs we have done, and this was in the exterior of a school halls, and we did the first floor and the second floor. But again, it's an exterior, so that means we're using the FS level mortar here, right? And you see how fluid it is. We use our monomix machine with MTech. Um, we open the bags there on that the hopper, and it's going through the hose. So the material is going in through that 30-foot hose, and then you use your leveler or your smoother, right? You hear on the left side, you're using your leveler to get it to the 1/4 inch, so it flows nice and flat. And then you can correct some area with the smoother, and then you take out the let's say the air with the porcupine roller. Here you can also do some decorative work, where in this job we decided to put some flakes over it. These are vinyl flakes. You can use micro flakes or regular size flakes. And so they wanted this appearance, right? So you can go here from the left side where the material is still wet. He's using his spike shoes. That's why he's not marking the surface, right? And so you put the flakes, you throw the flakes on the surface, let it set. Then the sealer, I would put it, let's say, after 3 days, just to make sure that all the moisture that's in that slab is out of the underlayment, right? So here you can use for exterior, let's say a polyspartic resin, or let's say a chemical resisting urethane, some that won't yellow on you on the surface. This is another job. This is a job we did for, let's say, a clinic, let's say, where an operation room where they needed a clean room, right? So the contractor started taking out the existing floor, and these were these vinyl flooring systems, and again, surprise, they thought that they were going to find concrete underneath that vinyl, but again, there was another system there, and they had to do this job in let's say a weekend or 2 weekends. So they hadn't contemplated to remove all these tiles. So, but we did let's say put a clause for the underlayment and also for a vapor barrier, since we were seeing yellowing signs on the walls. And so we grind it out with a diamond disc, the surface, and we poured the vapor barrier. This is an epoxy vapor barrier, right? You can also add some sand on it to get more, let's say, a bite or a better profile as well. Then we poured our underlayment. You can see there how it from wet to how it hardens out. And then they used a primer over an epoxy primer, a base color, and then they put some flakes on it and a chemical resistant urethane or a polyspartic, so that it doesn't stain due to all the chemicals used in an operation room. So you can also do the coat bases as well. You can paint the coat bases, and that's what they use there. This is another hospital we worked on the hallways and part of the some of the rooms. And so you start off with preparation, you clean, then you start pouring the underlayment, right? Then you're using your porcupine roller, take out all the bubbles. Then you have your floor there. Probably you can put epoxy over that, or you can put a vinyl flooring over that, or tiles as well. And this was a second floor terrace. They waterproofed the terrace first with a liquid system, and then we put some primer over that, and you can see our mixing station from above there, and then with the hose we went to the second floor and we poured the material. I got another video here, so you can take a look at how they're using the Here, they only used the smoother and they finished the whole floor like that. Okay, so, they had a lot of this, like if you see on the left, they had a lot of distressed surface, right? Uneven surface, and with our FS level mortar, which you can use in the exterior, you can fix these surfaces. So the neat thing about using these pumps is just break them on the hopper, and you just keep feeding the machine until you finish. Here on the front is what we call a pre-mixer. It's really just makes a nice mix with that pre-mixer as well. And thank you very much for being here and listening to our presentation on self-leveling. I don't know if you have any questions. I can take them right now.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I have a question. Does Carmelo has any underlayment that can be used as a finished surface?
Well, you can use the FS level mortar. That'll be the topping. So that'll be your finished surface. You can leave it as is, or you can also use a light sealer over that surface as well. But it's a
Okay.
finished product. It's a finished flooring.
Okay. And all the tech specs are on the website?
That is correct. If not, you can email me or at info@carmelo.com and or ivasquez@carmelo.com and I can send whatever. Right. At carmelo.com and we can send you whatever you need, SDSs, technical data sheet. But in that website, you'll see the data sheets as well and other materials that we manufacture.
Well, thank you very much for the information. It
Sure.
was very good.
Thank you very much for listening. Sure.
Okay.
And again, these materials are very easy to use. The only thing is just follow the instructions, and you can again replay this video. We'll have it in YouTube and then also in our website. And if you miss something, or if you have another questions, or you can call us or email us as well.
Okay, when I have a specific question, I'll get back to you.
Sure, great.
Thank you very much.
Hope your next project will be done with one of our products with Carmelo, and hope a nice day. Take it easy, and God bless.